what's up, people? We're back in the studios this time, and this time we're going to be talking about the 10 most dangerous cars of all time. That's what we got off the internet, right?
Yep. And we got it from the website harrybrownlaw.com.
So it's the 10 most dangerous cars of all. It's not what we picked, it's what we found. And so we just want to find out what you guys think, or if you guys agree with their pick. And some of these is kind of surprising because we didn't think they were on this list. A few of them, yeah, and some of them, no. So it's kind of interesting to see this list because it's all over the place. It's not just one type or one maker model or from one country or whatever. So it's kind of a mixture of a few different ones. Although there is like one maker that has 3 of them in there. And another one that has 2 of them in there. So I don't know what that has to say, bro. So, but that's what we're talking about today because we thought, like, wow, dangerous of all times. That's got to carry a heavy load, and I believe one of them they still make. 2 of them they still make. So all 3 of them they still make, I think. So we're going to go down the list and we're going to go check them out. So one of them I think everybody knows is the Ford Pinto, right?
Yep. Now, is that the number 10? We're counting backwards?
Oh, is that no,
or is
the
it
list
just
I'm looking at don't even have a price. Don't even have numbers.
Yeah, I think it's just the top 10, so but it's no particular order.
Oh, okay. Well, what is the Pinto? Is that number 1 or number 10?
No, I don't think it's in an order. I just think they picked the top 10 and just picked 10.
So the Pinto, I know that. I believe wasn't it the gas tank?
Yep, I believe so. In rear rear accidents, it would the fuel would spray out. Yeah.
And then gas would just fly forward and engulf everybody, and that was pretty harrowing, especially if you owned the Pinto.
Yeah.
You know what, I kept getting the Pinto mixed up with the Pacer.
Yeah, well, they were similar.
Yeah,
except the Pacer was the rear hatch and Pinto.
Yeah, that weird. It looked like somebody with a big ass.
Oh no, actually, Pinto did have a rear door.
It did.
Yeah. But yeah, that was common amongst a few other models of cars around that time that I can think of too. And the Chevy pickup was one.
The big ass look.
No, the fuel spraying out in accidents.
Oh no. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So the Chevy was side impact though, because the fuel tank was located right behind the driver, right behind the cab, rear or left side or driver's side of the vehicle. So in a T-bone accident, it would spray fuel out on the car that actually hit them. So, and I think the second one was Crown Victoria's.
Wow.
I think it was late 90s, early 2000s, mid 2000s Crown Victoria's. The fuel tank was relocated from just below the trunk to between the rear passenger seat and the trunk, because
wasn't that most of the
police
cop cars,
yeah.
Police vehicles?
Yeah, and that fuel tank was moved because of equipment requirements, mounting radios, mounting gun mounts in that rear of the trunk. When you stick a screw in it, you would go right into the fuel tank. So they moved the fuel tank, but that turned into also a problem because the fuel in a rear impact, that was the crumple zone, and it would squish the fuel into the car. And then I think we had a police officer die here in a rear impact of a Crown Victoria that way too. But yeah, that's a
That's some harrowing stories, man, right there.
I know that the Pinto was, I saw crash test videos of that happening with the Pinto, the
Yeah.
Chevy, I guess you'd call it the square body, and the Crown Vic. So,
but yeah, I saw those videos on YouTube too. It was pretty nuts.
Pinto gets the distinguished notoriety, though.
And then the other one we're looking at is the Chevrolet Corvair, which I don't know when the last time they made that, but
pretty long time.
Yeah, that was like from what, the 60s or 70s?
Yeah.
I don't think they ever made anything. So Ford has one, Chevy has one right now on the list. And so the Chevrolet Corvair, we don't say much about the Corvair because I don't know anybody that had one.
Yeah.
I don't even think do we have any die-cast? I used to have a Johnny Lightning Corvair.
I
don't have it anymore.
Mine isn't die-cast. I have a stamped steel one that I found in a thrift store bag. And it was in good condition while we were remodeling. It kind of got squished. So
Kinda.
it's I'll in post-production I'll add the picture of it to the video.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. You get a picture.
It's a red one. Ironically, it's a red one, just like this. The one that we're looking at on HarryBrownLaw.com.
And then the next one is, okay, this. I don't know who bought this. The Yugo GV.
Yeah.
I don't know what GV means. I mean, what, good value?
I think great value, I believe, is what it stood for.
Bruh, that sounds just like you're buying food from a grocery, bruh. Great value. Wait, don't they have a...
Yeah, isn't that the Walmart's knockoff brand?
That's their in-house brand, yeah.
You know, my introduction to Yugo was the remake of Dragnet with Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks.
I was like,
yeah.
I was like, what kind of shitty car is that? And he said it was a Yugo. I was like, wow.
Yeah. You know, when I was working in the car business, I knew a assistant sales manager that in his early days of selling cars in Arizona sold Yugos, and he said it was really bad because they would come rusted brand new.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, that's just wrong, dude.
And I guess the cars from the old Yugoslavia in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, Europe area, Eurasia area. So, yeah, it wasn't a great car.
Came rusted. Okay, so the next two on this list, we both had one each.
Yep.
And I'm shocked, as you probably are, but we kind of knew about it a little because when you look at it, especially if you lift it, like mine was a 4x4. So the next one we're talking about is the Ford Bronco 2 on this list.
Yep.
And so I had a Ford Bronco 2, and I lifted mine not high, but I think I had like 33s on there.
Wow.
And so I know it was the center of gravity wasn't too good. Because I know a couple of times I was taking some turns and I was late. Yeah, and I could feel the car like whoa, 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 whoa.
I remember riding in one. I think my auntie had one. I do remember that feeling. It's like a bouncy, tippy kind of feeling.
Yeah, I mean it was a good car. I liked it. It lasted me for when I got it. It was like the company I used to work for. It was the owner's car. It was a company car. And so it got abused. So by the time I got it, it was like, I actually had to go like change a lot of stuff out. and changed the oil, plugs, filters, everything. Cleaned it out, flushed everything out. And the car lasted me for like about 8 years. So
Wow.
I got nothing bad to say about it. It was a great car. I wish it didn't fall apart. It just started to fall apart.
Well, I think the best thing Ford did was they adapted that from their very popular Ford Ranger at the time. So, I mean, the only thing different was the body, right? The front end was Ford, the then Ford Ranger front end. So,
and the next one on that list is I believe you had one.
yep,
The Ford Explorer.
Ford Explorer. Now, this site that we're looking at did say that it's the 90s Ford Explorers, but the funny thing is there was two designs during the 90s. One adapted from the Bronco 2, which was the iconic 1990 or 91 Ford Explorer that was released. But I had the redesign. Mine was from 1999. But yes, they did have rollover issues because unlike the Bronco 2, the Ford Explorer, the then Ford Explorer, was a little longer on the wheelbase, which meant it had a little bit more tendency to tip because of weight and it being higher. Up high. So the Ford, and I believe this is what happened, was Ford's answer to it was to deflate the rear tires a little to give it a rear lean backwards to bring the center of gravity down, and in turn that kind of screwed over Firestone because Firestone's exclusive deal with Ford had their tires on them and their tires started to separate.
Yeah, well, there was a huge lawsuit.
Yeah.
Some lady, I saw that on the news. I remember that, and I saw the amount that she sued for and won. But you know what? I mean, I think she's a quadriplegic now.
Yeah.
So you know what? I mean,
and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, all the money in the world ain't when you're like that.
Ain't what?
Ain't shiitake mushrooms if you like that.
Yeah, and that's
like what?
And that's unfortunate, but blowouts don't normally cause rollovers. It's how you react to those blowouts that do. And it didn't help that it's for accidents, major accidents to occur. It's like the NTSB calls it the Swiss cheese model, where you have slices of cheese with holes in them, and all the holes don't line up unless a series of mistakes occur along the way. And the first one was the design. The second was their answer to the design was to deflate the rear tires. The third was the quality on the Firestone tires were not as good as they were before. And the fourth and the final nail in the coffin is the driver itself, driver themselves. So it takes all of those to be able to, for a very bad accident to occur, and not minimizing any injuries or deaths that occurred from them, but you gotta call it what it is. If you've ever had a tire blowout on the freeway, you know that you're pretty much gonna just lose air in your tire. It's just gonna deflate. It might kick up some rubber. That rubber is gonna get up under your wheel well. It's gonna sound big. It's gonna sound bad. It's gonna sound like the world's going to end. But it's how you react to that.
Oh, dude, I forgot to close my hood good one time. Drove on the freeway. Yeah, it's not like the freaking movies, bro. I was just driving and thunk, all of a sudden, black out. I really had a blackout. And so I couldn't see Jack, so I was driving like Ace Ventura when his windshield was all smashed. I was trying to move my head out. I was like, I pulled over right on the road, and needless to say, my hood was trashed already, and it cracked my windshield. So yeah, that was expensive. I needed a new hood and a new windshield, and so that was a very expensive day. So lesson learned: make sure when you close your hood, make sure you hit that snap and double check.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now I check everything. All right, so next on the list is Pontiac Fiero. Now, I had a girlfriend who had that, and I didn't know what kind of car that was. And so, like, when I walked into her car, I go, what the hell kind of car is that? She was a Fiero. And I guess at the time, it was the thing. You know what I mean? It was a cool car.
Well, it's also in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah, and so, like, but I heard, like, to fix it was a nightmare.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't know what the safety issue is, but
it's a rear-mounted, right? Rear-mounted engine.
Yeah, it's not much room in there. I'll tell you that much. But then again, I wasn't the same size I am now, so. But yeah, it was an interesting car, and I don't quite know what made it the world's most dangerous car, but all I know is like if you got into a wreck with that, it was so small, like yeah man, because when we sat up, like you could hit a motor right by your head, bro.
Yeah.
So I was like, holy crap, is that the motor, man? I was like, I just was hoping one piston or one ring don't blow and fly through the wall and basically through my face.
Yeah, I'm in the background. I'm frantically looking for the premium Hot Wheel Fiero that I have in my collection. I should have pulled that out before we started this, but I know I do have one. I just don't know what case it's in right now.
And he used the word frantic, people.
Yes.
Because... So, All right, so the next one, while he's looking for the Fiero, the next one is the DeLorean DM12. Now, is that the same DeLorean that's on
Back to the
Future?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I understand it's stainless steel, so you don't have to worry about rust. But if somebody hits you, that's got to be expensive to fix.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. I think they would just change the
panels and all, yeah.
I mean, if you pound it out, I mean, you can't paint over it or bondo it, so.
Yeah, I don't think so. But why was that dangerous? That's the first car I saw with gull wing doors, by the way.
Oh.
My personal experience. Not saying it was the first car to have gull wing doors. That's the first one I saw that had that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a steering,
Oh, the steering was bad?
Oh, well, this site is saying that its notable wing doors lack the safety mechanisms to release the doors after a crash.
Ah.
Meant that this would put the driver in a dangerous position. It would be jammed shut.
Ah.
Wow, that's scary.
That is.
Wow.
Okay, so up next is the Audi 5000. Now, I'm assuming that's one of the newer models, I believe.
I think it's a really old one.
Oh, it is?
It's an 80s version. They have cited.
Oh, is that what they show? Okay. Yeah. I don't have it on my thing, so. So what was the problem with that? Because usually Audis. No, was it Audis? No, what was the one that they considered super safe?
Volvo,
yeah. So
this one says that it had a notably faulty engine.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
A notably faulty engine.
Yeah.
What the? So basically, it's like basically the motor is crap.
Yeah.
I like how they use that vague terminology. Notably faulty engine.
So it does say in here that the engine had a tendency to unpredictably accelerate and heaved forward on its own while in idle. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, that this is why we have the kill switches on clutches that you have to depress the clutch to start a manual car.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been it, because I think the drivers were getting in, turning the ignition while it's sitting in first gear, and the car would lunge, and I believe it may have killed some people in their garage.
So I just noticed something, being 10,000 miles away and stuff like that. So I noticed when you scroll down, it tells you what was wrong with the car.
Yeah.
I was like, awesome, man. Boss One is very versed in it. And I was like, wait, that's all the stuff he was reading. I was like, oh, there it is. I was like, oh, it's all right there.
Hey, my dad said, dazzle them with brilliance or baffle them with BS. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so the FIERO, the FIERO said several reasons. Fires could start for several reasons. Among them were the faulty wiring that resulted from poor design choices and its coolant features. That was for the FIERO. The Ford Explorer was. Even when some changes have been made in an attempt to ensure that it would not roll over frequently, the core issue of the body design were ignored, which only opened the door for even more chronic issues.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay,
so I think Ford's answer, if we're going back to Ford Explorer, I think Ford's answer to it was they designed it with a wider stance and a lower body body height.
And then for the Bronco, it said Ford made a misstep with the SUV. Its high body made maneuvering curved roads a dangerous thing. A tight turn at high speeds has been believed to have been directly responsible for a large number of deaths. Wow.
And
well,
remember,
I took some of those high turns, and I was like, I two-wheeled it a couple times.
And remember, at the time, we had station wagons, we had sedans, we had pickup trucks and vans. We had nothing in between the two.
Yeah.
And this is what merged the two. That's the popularity of the car was. You could get a station wagon with the van height, and and you could see how that recipe lined up those to be tragic.
But for the most part, I mean, I ran that Bronco hard, man. I mean, hard. For 8 years, I ran that thing hard, and you know what? It handled. I'll give it that. All right, so moving on.
But you know what? A quick solution to that Bronco issue would have been for them to make it just a wider stance, put wider wheels, and push the wheels out and put fender flares on them, and you could have answered a lot of that.
I think that's what they did with the new Broncos. I don't know when they're going to come out with it, but I saw
the retro designed one.
Yeah, that one was nice. Like, I'd buy one.
2021, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, here we go. It's notable wing doors lack the safety mechanism to release the doors after a crash, which meant that this would put the driver in a dangerous position.
Yeah.
These doors would be jammed, which could make it impossible to open from the inside.
Yeah.
That's the DeLorean. The Audi was... Yeah. This vehicle had a notable faulty engine, like you said.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Apparently, the defective nature of the car that sent many drivers to their early graves came from the engine. The engine had a tendency to unpredictably accelerate and heave forward on its own, even while in idle.
Yeah.
Bro, that's not minor, bro.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're moving on to the Kia Rio. So, yeah, I've seen these cars, and I gotta, if you've been in a wreck, if you've got hit by somebody or you've been in a car accident, you know the trauma that you go through with that. You know what I mean? Being in it, and if you're in a really bad one, people get PTSD from that. They get screwed up. I know some guys that don't even drive anymore because they're so messed up from having a bad accident. A friend of mine got T-boned really bad. He almost died, you know, and he don't even drive already. You know, another friend of mine had her babies in the car, her twins, and some psycho hit her, and now she drives Expedition. She had a small compact car, and everybody got hurt, even her kids got hurt, but they all survived. Wasn't nothing, you know, permanent. But after that, she bought a bigger car, a better car. My friend just stopped driving. So, you know, everybody has different experiences. But when I see that, like when I see like the smart car and all those tiny cars, I mean, I'm sure they save on gas, but I don't think I can roll in that. No way. That looks like a golf cart with just the side doors and everything.
Yeah, but this Kia Rio, if you're looking at the
picture, yeah, looking at it.
It's pretty small. It's like your
It is.
Corolla. Actually, it might even be smaller than Corolla.
It's smaller than a Corolla.
This might be a sub. What's smaller than a subcompact? There's another classification. You have compact.
Yeah, there is.
You have subcompact, and then there was another classification because they have those smart cars too, right? Those are not compact.
Yeah. I think they're called subcompact, compact, coffin, and stupid, something like that.
Yeah, dead at
coffin and something. Yeah,
it's compact, subcompact, and dead at 35 mile per hour impact.
Yeah.
But
so this one said, go ahead.
This one, the Institute for Insurance, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, IIHS.
That's what that's called. Okay.
Yeah. They showed a couple of meek points for the Kia for 2012 to 2014 models, including head and leg areas that are susceptible to lethal damage when struck from the rear. Now that sucks.
Head and neck area. Oh, that lethal damage. I'm assuming that's what would you consider lethal damage, dude?
They died.
Me? Excuse me. Sorry, I choked on some spit because lethal damage to me, head and leg.
Yeah.
I'm thinking decapitation or so. It's like, what is lethal? Wow, that's pretty unreal, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I didn't buy one. This one is shocking, though.
Yeah. The
last one on this list, I was kind of shocked, which is the Corvette, the Chevy Corvette. And it says, however, along with the car's power and aerodynamic design, the combination of aggressive drivers and narrow tires led to numerous car crash accidents even to this day. Okay, well, aggressive drivers. So you got stupid drivers. I don't think it's the car's fault. Especially if you got a dumb driver, the loose nut behind the wheel, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And if that's the case, I'm pretty sure it's not limited to only the Corvette.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to look at it like that.
So why does the Corvette take this distinction?
Yeah, I don't understand why this is even in this. Like, all the others, they had something wrong with the motor, wiring, gas tank. You know, there was something significant about it. But this one was like a combination of aggressive drivers and narrow tires. The tires you can fix. Just get wider tires, bigger rims and wider tires.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
not narrow as in width. It's height. You're looking at 1 inch, 2 inch sidewalls. That's pretty small.
Oh, well, if they're looking at the height, then, well, because I mean, but that's easier to when you bite turns. At least the tire's not gonna flex, huh?
Yeah.
You get too much belly, you're gonna flex, and then, you know, oh, dude, I seen this guy driving, and his tires were so cambered. I was tripping out, like all four were cambered, and I was like, how the hell is he driving, bro?
Yeah. You know, I think I saw that same car on the freeway the other day.
Yeah, he was on the freeway, and I was like driving on the side of him, and I looked, I was like, wow. And his tires, I was like,
He literally is hanging on or riding on the corners of the wheels.
yeah, literally, like and I couldn't believe his car was actually rolling, bro. It looked like the DeLorean when
Yeah.
it's about to take flight and the wheels fold up.
Yeah.
And it was so cambered, so bad. I was like, wow, is that not gonna like? Well, I know it's gonna mess up his tires, but how does that not like bust up his rims or, steering? And steering has got to be weird. It's got to be tough.
I believe that in order to do that, there's some wheel well modifications they got to do.
But I mean,
and it's lowered a lot, so you're looking.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if he did that so he can drop his car lower, but at what expense? I mean, handling has got to got to be limited.
Yeah. So I think that might be a show car that they drive to shows, like car shows.
Oh, if it is, then that's fine. But if it's a daily driver, I don't know, because I seen him on one regular day, like a weekday. So
yeah, me too.
But,
I was right behind him too. I don't know. I didn't get any video of it. That would have been great to show right now.
I don't like video and then smash it and somebody video me hitting somebody else.
Yeah.
Then somebody's gonna showcase. Hey, look, Boss 2 was videotaping with another guy, and he's on the video. Yeah.
But then I can always just blame it.
Of 2020.
I can always just blame it on his unsafe tires because I was wanting to get video of unsafe tires.
Yeah.
I rammed into them. Yeah. So.
Well, what happened? It was his fault. Why? Because his car would look trippy. I had to watch him. It's his fault. Sort of like blaming one hot chick for being hot.
Yeah.
How come you crashed? Because that chick right over there, she's super hot. I was looking at her.
She tried to cross the road.
It's her fault. Nobody tell her to drop her pencil, bend over, pick him up.
So let's turn it around for the viewers, or in this case, listening, because we're not really. We'll probably show some of the pictures from the website.
Yeah.
What do they agree? Do they disagree? Or do they know of any other cars that should have made the list that didn't? Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, let us know. You're right. It does say great value.
That's where I got it from.
Okay, I was like, good guess. Yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. And like I said, we didn't make this list up. We found it online. Thought it was an interesting point to talk about. So that's why we have it. But if you have something that you want to say that maybe you bought a bad car or it sucks or it has a history, let us know, because I'm sure there's more on this list. But this is just the list that we decided to pick and use. And I know there's other lists out there with different vehicles, but we picked it because I had one of the vehicles and he had one of the. Boss 1 had one, Boss 2 had one. That's why we wanted to talk about it, because we both had the vehicles. I should have lied. I should have said we both had the DeLorean and the Corvette. I can attest, because when I speed on the Autobahn, no. But yeah, I don't understand why that Vette's in here. I don't get that. But it's in here. Like, oh well, whatever. I mean, it sucks, but I mean, to blame the car handling on the driver, and I don't know. Well, anyway, so let us know what you think. We're about, I don't know how long we've been going, but we don't want to go too long here. 35. So we're going to cut it short. And we'd like to thank everybody for coming out, checking us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel, and check out our Instagram and Twitter pages also. And, we got more content coming up. So put some glue in your collar and stick around. We'll be back. We out.